It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, what's good, y'all? Lee Sanders here, checking out a new The RCWR show for this Monday night, June 10th, 2024. How you guys doing? Hope your weekend was fantastic. Mine's, I cannot complain. Was able to spend some quality time with the missus, and that is always a good thing. And I tell you what, man, I am just loving the new direction that I am in right now. Because, man, I have never made so much money before, not just in regards to my independence now, because I basically put in my notice to kick off June to my respected employers. And I said, look, I'm going to be going into business for myself. It's just time for me to move on. Not to mention, I want to make sure I free myself up for my classes this fall because I'm going to have a loaded up semester. So, yeah, everything is just going good so far. I cannot complain. And then on top of all of that, the show. We're doing good with the show. Numbers are going up. Everything's just up. We've got more clients that's reaching out, wanting either ad recording help or they need some type of help with advertising and promoting. So I tell you, really good things popping right now, man. I cannot complain whatsoever. What did you guys think about tonight's WWE RAW? My pretty babies, sound off. Let me know. I want to hear from you. You can definitely cast your vote on our poll right now, X, formerly known as Twitter, at the RCWR Show, or on youtube.com/the RCWR Show. Click on the communities tab, and you can definitely vote that way. Nice, well-rounded episode we got planned for you guys here tonight. So y'all picked a really great time to tune in. Happy to have you on board. Hopefully you've done the subscribe and all that jazz. I'm not going to be going through the whole spiel. Y'all know what time it is. Oh, but I will say this for those of you, because I've actually gotten an email or two or a private message. Hey, Lee, I was trying to look into Super Chat. I was trying to do this. I was trying to do that. For those that are interested and maybe you want to get me a cup of coffee or you're like, hey, Lee, here, this is on me, man. Go take the missus out to a nice movie or a restaurant. You want to send your man a little something. Check out the episode description of this very episode. Definitely check out the links via YouTube because I don't think it's set up on the other outlets. Definitely on YouTube. You can PayPal your man. You can even Cash App a brother. I'm starting to get into all that jazz. So the biggest question as we were heading into tonight's WWE RAW, as this was their go-home show, because remember, they're doing Clash at the Castle this weekend. What's up with Ricochet? What is going on? We heard the buzz that was put out there by multiple wrestling outlets saying that Ricochet, by all accounts, has informed WWE that he has no intentions of signing a new deal, extension, none of that. That basically he wants to properly wrap things up with the company. And unless WWE was able to make him an offer that he couldn't refuse, then this respected week would be the last time that we would potentially see Ricochet in the WWE. Now, that doesn't mean that, okay, it's a done deal as far as Ricochet is done with WWE. For all we know, okay, look, we can't quite come to an agreement right now, but let's give it a week or 2, 3 weeks. Something could probably happen, right? But to just hear the idea that Ricochet is potentially a free agent, if you are that head in TNA, if you are AEW, if you are MLW, you're looking at that name and you're going, yo, if this guy is available and there's some type of way we can tap into that man's services, we definitely got to send some feelers out. We got to put our best people out there and see what we can do as far as putting together not just a package, but trying to put together some type of a really good sales pitch to get that man to have a meeting and ultimately sign on the dotted line, sign, seal, delivered, right? So I was very curious, having all of that in the back of my mind going into tonight's Raw, having all of that in the back of my mind saying, let's see how Ricochet is potentially going to be written off of television, if at all. And the way that they did this tonight, the way that WWE handled this, I got to give them mad props. They did this very, very well. Although I am a stickler for detail, and I have a bone to pick with the way everything was set up for Ricochet making his exit for now. Of course, Bron Breakker has been on this warpath for the past several weeks, ever since he got drafted to Raw. Bron Breakker, when it's all said and done, he just feels this level of disrespect by his general manager in Adam Pearce. And he's letting him hear about it in more ways than one. And you think that a fine, you think that a suspension is going to stifle Breakker? No, on the contrary, it just pisses him off even more. And he unleashes even more rage. He unleashes even more brutality. Feel sorry for those victims. So we saw how everything culminated tonight as we had a really great matchup between Bron Breakker and Dragunov, reigniting a old feud, if you will, from the days in NXT. And I love this match for what it was worth. It was definitely a really good, strong back and forth. I thought that for this respected chapter, which basically new for the mainstream WWE audience, particularly those that did not see these two get it on in NXT. But for us veteran fans that did see these guys in NXT, we're just salivating and going, oh, yeah, this going to be popping. And we're saying to the folks that ain't been watching NXT, yo, you're in for a special treat right here because, yo, this is going to be, you're going to like this one, seriously. Like, you ain't never seen the stuff in NXT. You're definitely going to like what these guys are going to do for you here tonight. I thought this match that they had was a really great companion piece to what all they were doing down in NXT not that long ago. You know what? They could have, WWE, I'm speaking of, they could have put Bron Breakker in another position where, let's just give him a squash match. But, we're in this day and age now where squash matches is starting to become, honestly, a thing of the past. It's starting to become one of those, yeah, no, not really interested in that. Let's see what happens when a more viable, competent opponent is across the ring from this individual that we should be giving a damn about and everything. So the fact that they had Bron Breakker out here in a very competitive match against an old rival, and these guys went relatively 17, 18 minutes. Physicality-wise, this matchup, balls to the walls, absolute fun. absolute fun. If we thought Oba Femi was something down in NXT, we're looking at Bron Breakker and we're going, yo. But what about Bron over here? Bron tearing it up left and right as well. This was good. This was definitely really good. Good matchup here. Felt more like a fight than anything. Man, was Dragunov selling like a mofo those moves that was coming to him from Breakker. I was loving it. I mean, every single time Breakker did some type of a move, power move on Dragunov, you just couldn't help but squirm, flinch, crunch up, grind your teeth, right? I mean, that's good. That's just good. That's how you should be feeling and everything. So, post-match, we see Dragunov. He's being helped up. And actually, no, he wasn't getting helped yet. He actually was trying to pull himself together as he was over by the timekeeper barricade area. Bron Breakker noticed this, leaves the ring, tries to jump him again, but then Ricochet cuts him off, starts attacking and everything. I mean, he just came out of nowhere like a flying freaking hero, okay? So that was nice. And we know that Ricochet and Dragunov these past several weeks, they've been having this friendly competition, right? They basically have found admiration in one another. They found respect in one another. And these two men, they definitely want to lock it up and everything. But first things first, they got to take care of their own respective business. But to see Ricochet come to the aid of Dragunov like a superhero, I love that touch. But at the same time, as I'm seeing this play out before my eyes, I'm not sure about you guys, but I know for me personally, I'm looking at this going, yeah, there's going to be some ramifications to this. You want to be a superhero and you want to, okay, well, you're going to pay the penalty for that big time. And Ricochet did pay for it big time, as we saw later on in the night while Ricochet was trying to help out Dragunov, maybe to the medical staff backstage. Bron Breakker coming from out of nowhere, boom, hitting another spear on Dragunov, laying him out. Ricochet, Breakker going right at it. Action spills over, it looks like, to the loading dock area where you have a couple of production trucks set up and everything. And we saw Ricochet get Rey Mysterio darted, a la WCW Kevin Nash. So fitting, too, because we just got done seeing debut from last week, the very first episode of Who Killed WCW. And I'll give you guys my overall thoughts about that episode. Not necessarily a review, kind of, but mostly overall thoughts on the episode and how it was presented and everything later on during this show. But darted him big time to the wall of one of the production side trucks. It was a nice spot. I loved it. Beat him up really good. Picked him up. Did a, running power slam onto the car window, laying him out. Nice touch right there. Loved everything about that. But I'm a stickler for detail. And the one thing that always pisses me off whenever I see some type of a beatdown go down. Did not intend for that to rhyme, by the way. But if there's one thing that I find annoying is when a wrestler that's in street clothes and they are supposed to be involved in this backstage brawl and everything, or sometimes that brawl can spill out into the arena, but they're in their street clothes. If there's one thing that I find annoying, whether they're in their street clothes or they're in their ring gear, when they keep adjusting their attire. I find that to be so annoying, and you got to go back and you got to see what was going on with Ricochet. Some people may look at this and they may say, Lee, you're just, come on, man, really? And it's like, no, seriously, go back. Just go back, watch the Ricochet brawl with Breakker. He is constantly adjusting his shirt. Constantly. Gets darted into the production truck. Falls on the ground. You're supposed to sell the fact that not only did your head hit the wall of the production truck, but your head hit the concrete and yet you're finding the time to immediately adjust your shirt. You're pulling it down. We get it. We got to make sure that we know exactly what that shirt is about and how we can get it on WWE Shop. I get all of that, right? But let's get lost in the moment of this beatdown that's happening right now. Let's have you get really sold into that. That's not enough. It's not enough. Braun picks him up. He's continuing to beat the living hell out of Ricochet. Ricochet continues to pull his shirt down. Then you climb up to a couple of steel steps there, connected to the production truck, and then Braun does that running power slam onto the car. I'm looking at that spot, and I'm saying particularly, okay, so Ricochet, really, dog, there's no reason for you whatsoever to adjust your shirt. You don't need to worry about pulling your shirt down. You're not chunky at all, right? You are good. You look marvelous. You've got nothing to worry about, okay? 8-pack abs. You're good, brother. You're good. I'm thinking surely he's done adjusting his shirt. No, he was not done. He adjusts his shirt, pulls it down yet again. It was so freaking annoying. And my wife, the only thing she could do is chuckle as I'm seeing all of this play out before my eyes. And I'm telling her, like, no. It's like, I'm a stickler for that. Like, no. Take the ass whooping. Worry about adjusting your stuff once the cameras are off of you. That's just my whole spiel, right? But that to the side. I love seeing what was going down with my man Ricochet getting that ass whooping. I loved it. Loved the nice touch after we came back from a commercial break where Samantha Irvin was checking on him. They showed how emotional she was when she was at ringside watching all of this go down on the Titantron. But then after the commercial break, we get okay, here's what's happening in real time as she's with Ricochet as he's being loaded up to the back of that ambulance, and she is just a emotional wreck. I thought that little attention to detail right there was so fine, so nice. Oh, so divine. I loved it. I loved it. That fine attention, because really, if you're stopping and you're thinking about it, some people may say, what was the big deal? There's really no. Some people can look at that and say, okay, well, it's not like they're husband and wife just yet. I don't really follow what's going on with who married who, but last I heard, they were engaged. If that's changed, I'll definitely know about it once the show is over, because I usually like to go back and check up on certain things so I can talk about it a little bit more on the next show. But one could say, all right, she's there. It's unfortunate what happened, but you know what? They'll give her updates. Meanwhile, she's got a job to do. Yeah, true. But wouldn't it be that much more badass, that much cooler if, no. Nothing else matters at this point except for the safety, the well-being, the health of her man. She's going to stand beside her man. She's going to be there for him in his time of need. She don't need to be there. And look, not for nothing, but we only got one more match left anyway, so they'll be all right. It's not like the whole hour is being abandoned as far as ring announcing goes. I thought that was a nice, fine touch to detail that WWE did in making sure that she was by Ricochet's side. So with that, last thing that we had heard from Michael Cole in the game, as far as health updates go, we would basically need to stay connected to social media and see what's going on with Ricochet. I am on the WWE social media handle right now via X, just seeing if they have put out anything, and I'm not seeing anything new right now. Hang on. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything new right now. So if you guys happen to be floating around on social media for the next little bit, you find out some new information from WWE's social media or maybe their website, you want to send some love our way, you can definitely do that. Look, a great exit for Ricochet. Great exit. Look, I hope that Ricochet and WWE legit. I hope that they're able to work things out. I hope that Ricochet continues to be in the WWE because I just have this inkling that if Ricochet continues with the WWE, that the amount of opportunities this young man has continued to get under Triple H, Paul Levesque at the helm these days has been substantially better than what Vince McMahon ever did for Ricochet. Remember back in the day when Ricochet was first introduced to us on WWE and all that? Remember initially Vince McMahon was messing around with his theme intro, and all of a sudden one week you just tuned in and pew 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 pew. That was the Ricochet kickoff for his theme. You're like, wait, what the hell? Like, we don't need to hear that crap. Like, what the hell? That sounds so stupid. What the hell, man? And it's just the little things like that. And of course, there's obviously a lot more instances that we can think of where, yeah, Vince didn't exactly do right by Ricochet. But, man, leave it to Triple H, Paul Levesque to, no. This was my guy in NXT. I know what this cat is capable of. No, we need to kind of go back to basics here with Ricochet. King Ricochet, as far as the indies go and all that. Like, no, we need to do this guy justice. And he has been right down to the point. I know that there was a few of you guys, not just here on the show, but also on social media, that like the idea of a Money in the Bank Ricochet. Some of you all felt that Ricochet was deserving of getting a world championship matchup. Some of you even jumped out there and said, yo, think it's time for Ricochet to become a world heavyweight champion. Now, look, I don't know if that last part would be in the cards for Ricochet if he was able to ink out some type of a new deal with WWE. But just looking at the current trajectory under Triple H, Paul Levesque, you're just led to the impression as a WWE fan, as a Ricochet fan, that nothing but more good things could happen for Ricochet if he continues to stay in the WWE. Now, look, we've seen Ricochet in the WWE, my God, for almost 10 years now. And not for nothing, but Ricochet could be at a point in his career where he's going, okay, look, you know what? I've accomplished a lot of things in the WWE. There's still some things that wasn't able to achieve, and that's probably going to remain that way, right? I've reached a certain ceiling, or I've reached a certain level. I don't think I'm honestly going to be able to surpass that. So, you know what? Let me go on ahead and let me take my talents elsewhere. And if Ricochet is at that point right now where he's more interested in testing the waters, see what's going on the free agency market, hey, you look at what's going on with guys like Matt Cardona, for example. Matt Cardona, probably the best thing that's happened for Matt Cardona is WWE letting him go, because he's pretty much been in control of his own name, his face, his own brand, all of that, and he has not looked back since. I like how he continues to toy around with the idea of, yeah, I could possibly do something in the WWE. It's remotely possible. Maybe I could eventually do something. Maybe I could go back, but yeah, he keeps teasing, and you can't help but wonder, well, what's it going to be? Are we eventually going to? But that's besides the point. You see what's going on with guys like Matt Cardona, and you're starting to see what's going on with our boy, Nick Nemeth. I keep wanting to call him Dolph Ziggler. I'm just going to refer to him as Dolph Ziggler, because I know a lot of you guys know him more as Dolph Ziggler, but continuing to see what's going on with him. Matt Hardy is now back out there on the free agency market. Very curious to see what happens with Jeff Hardy, because you would just imagine that Jeff Hardy is going to follow suit, join his brother, and they pretty much are going to be a combo type of deal to whoever is out there that wants their services and everything. And you know what? I'm going to say this. This may sound controversial, okay? Not to get sidetracked, but, you know, it does tie into wrestling and everything. But if there's one thing where I'm going, you know what? This is what the free agency market needs right now. This is what those independent promotions need right now. They need for the Hardys. They need for a Dolph Ziggler. They need for a Matt Cardona. They need for a guy like a Ricochet to be out there and say, look, I may have committed to this company over here for X amount of years. You got to forgive a brother if I'm not trying to be so quick to jump into another long-term relationship. I just want to have my cake and eat it too, right? I just want to have some fun right now. That's it. No strings attached, right? I don't want to sign on no dotted line for 3, 4, 5 years. I just want to come in, do my thing, get the people talking, keep it moving along. We saw how well it worked for Cody Rhodes. So if Ricochet is kind of looking at what some of these guys did and is thinking, you know what, I can definitely do that as well. Let's not forget what initially brought Ricochet to the dance in WWE in the first place, which is the great work that he was doing on the independents, especially when it came to Lucha Underground. Holy crap. I might have not been able to really see a lot of the stuff that he was doing with the other promotions, but I definitely was paying very close attention to him when he was involved in Lucha Underground. And I said, man, yeah, this dude, I'd be shocked if he hasn't become a household name to a degree. He definitely is recognizable, and right, if you know your wrestling and everything, but has he become a household name, like insert whatever you want to throw at me and I'll tell you a yes or no? I don't think he's quite there at that level. But if Ricochet is saying to himself, I want to test out the free agency market, yo, he's going to be eating good for the next handful of years, because he is a amazing talent. This guy can still go. That's the crazy part too when I think about Ricochet, is the guy can still go, even though we've seen him now in WWE for 10 years, the guy can practically still go like when we first were introduced to this guy, maybe through Lucha Underground, or we were watching him in other promotions, and he still has age on his side. That's the other amazing part. He still has age on his side. So whatever this young man decides to do, I think it's going to be a telling tale. If he ends up staying with WWE, it's safe to say when it's all said and done, he's pretty much going to be wrapping up his wrestling career, I think, with the WWE. But if he goes out there to the free agency market, you can definitely look at that as him wanting to reintroduce himself to the masses, while also at the same time saying, okay, look, I see all the great fun and creative potential and XYZ that's out here, and I want to be able to control my brand. I want to be able to, right, all aspects. I want to be able to have potential dream matches, matchups I never would have thought I'd be able to have in 2024, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. If you're asking me straight up what I think is potentially going to happen with Ricochet, man, well, I don't see Ricochet doing anything with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Not unless it's on the type of deal where he can pretty much come in, work whatever dates that he's available for. I don't see anything on a long-term basis. Don't see that. But Samantha, right? I mean, they're an item. So that's a tricky one. That is a tricky one. Samantha, in her own respected right, has become a household name overnight. New fame, new attention and everything. I mean, damn, it doesn't get any better than getting an endorsement by Jim Cornette. Okay? Say what you will, but the fact that one thing that you cannot deny, no matter how you may personally feel about Jim Cornette, the one thing that you cannot deny is Jim Cornette has the listeners. Jim Cornette definitely has the downloads. He is much like Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports. If you got a pizzeria, man, Dave Portnoy gives your joint a positive review with that one slice challenge, and your establishment is made. Okay? Guaranteed, your establishment is made. You're going to most likely get new traffic. You're going to see some sales go up for that respective quarter and next or whatever. So the fact that Samantha got the endorsement there by Jim Cornette, I bet you that put more eyeballs on her than ever before. You all that pay attention to metrics and how many followers this person had pre and post, I'll let you experts deal with that. But I would not be surprised if everything for her went substantially up. So I say all that to bring up this point. Damn, all that, and now does she dip on WWE? I don't know about that. It's kind of like a pump the brakes real quick. I don't know about all that, right? That's to each its own, but that's kind of one of those kind of sensitive right there, right? It's better to have two sources of income in one, I always say. That way when something weird goes down, oh, honey, I'm injured, or oh, man, I got laid off, or oh, man, the other person can hold the fort down for a month or two until whatever's going on with the significant other, and then they're back to a full recovery, and boom, they're back out there working again. So we'll see how everything continues to play out there with Ricochet. Definitely wishing the brother nothing but the best. Been a fan of his for years. Definitely way before he even came into the WWE for sure. Some other action that went down on tonight's Raw just before his Clash at the Castle matchup for the World Heavyweight Championship. Drew McIntyre opening up the show, having some words there for Damian Priest. Not really a fan of the fact that Damian Priest's stooges keep getting involved, per se, in his business. I loved how the fans were chanting for CM Punk, and Drew McIntyre, without even saying the man's name, did inadvertently acknowledge him, pretty much saying the only thing that I care about right now. And that pretty much is how he did acknowledge CM Punk, but did not acknowledge CM Punk. I thought that was a very clever way of choosing his words there properly, putting the emphasis, putting the spotlight back on the fact that, McIntyre, Priest, Saturday, Clash at the Castle, World Heavyweight Championship. What's up? But, yeah, McIntyre, not a fan of Damian Priest. Stooges there in Judgment Day, feeling as though Priest can't get the job done by himself. This pretty much forced Priest to come out and say he doesn't need members of the Judgment Day to fight his fights, nor does he need them to help him retain his championship. As far as he's concerned, it's the man that makes the title, and he considers himself to be the man right now. He is Il Champion, and this pretty much had created an interesting setup for our main event match of the night. Damian Priest said to McIntyre, hey, tell you what, have a match against Finn Balor, and if you win, members of Judgment Day will be banned from ringside this Saturday. However, if Finn Balor wins, then Damian Priest, he knows that he can still beat Drew McIntyre one-on-one, but he wants for his brothers in Judgment Day to be there because he feels it would be a great honor for them to be at ringside to see him beat Drew McIntyre one-on-one. So we've got Damian Priest here essentially saying, look, even if you lose and Judgment Day can still be at ringside, I'm going to want them there, but they aren't going to interfere. They're just going to be there to see that I can get the job done by myself. So you're going, okay, so it's essentially a win-win situation per se, or what's going on here? As this is all playing out, you're going, who's the heel and who's the babyface here? Because more and more, you're just seeing this great role that Drew McIntyre has been on, especially with his social media game. And you're just going, yo, if there was ever a time to go on ahead and pull the trigger on Drew McIntyre, this is that time. The time is now. Yo, what is up? Hey, about that main event match, by the way, ties into some more Judgment Day. I got to remember to circle back. I'm making a mental note to myself because we got some more Judgment Day story arcs to talk about there. But fun main event match between McIntyre and Finn Balor. I know in the final moments of that matchup, if I'm not mistaken, I thought I saw the leader come out. Think Marvel Comics, the leader. What's his name? They usually call him Big Head. JD. I could have sworn JD McDonough was out there, but I know Drew McIntyre had came out. Carlito was up on the apron. Drew headbutted him. Hit a claim. Yeah, he hit a claymore. Drew McIntyre did on JD. Now that I'm thinking about it, sending him to the outside. Finn tried to roll up Drew. No mas. Tried for the sling blade. Then Finn hit the corner. Went for that trademark John Woo drop kick. Top rope. Coup de grace. Nope. Drew McIntyre counters with the claymore. Gets the 3 count victory that way. So, great main event match. A little bit short on time, I personally felt, especially given the fact that there was a commercial break that was squeezed in there. Great job by Pat McAfee as well for that one and only match that he pretty much was doing the ring announcing. Funny stuff. I would imagine that's going to be, if it's not on social media already, give it about a day or two, and it'll definitely be on there. So Drew McIntyre picking up the win. So this ends with McIntyre getting his wish per what Damian Priest put out there. He put the own, he put the stipulation out there on his own, not pressured whatsoever. So now going into their World Heavyweight Championship match at Clash at the Castle this weekend, it's going to be Drew McIntyre facing Damian Priest one-on-one. Cue up my favorite Alice in Chains song, No Excuses. But I think there's going to be a spoiler at Clash at the Castle. We'll talk a lot more about that later in the week. I got to tease you guys with that. We were talking about Judgment Day. Teasing a little bit of more Judgment Day development there. So it's the little things I love, especially the fine attention to detail. I liked how when we were checking in with Judgment Day for their couple of backstage segments, they had a Rey Mysterio action figure that was on this table, and it held up a sign that read, "I'm a deadbeat dad." I laughed my ass off at that. Keep in mind, we never got a blown up, zoom in, close up on that figure. You just would have had to been paying attention to what all was happening as far as props, background artwork, things of that nature. By the way, that was a really cool black and white banner that they had as a backdrop of Rhea Ripley. I thought that was pretty badass. I'd like to know who the artist is of that, because WWE should definitely, if they don't have it up on their website already for sale, they should definitely look into that. But Liv Morgan had made her presence felt yet again to Dom Mysterio. She courted him and basically said, why continue to be with a woman that truly does not appreciate you and would respect you as I would? She has you calling her mommy, but wouldn't you like it more if you had someone to call you daddy? That sounds pretty damn good. Where do I sign up? Hotel key card given to Dominic. Whatever is he to do? And it was so funny watching these guys in the Judgment Day regroup, and it almost kind of seemed like we were watching some kids in high school get together. Hey, man, she gave me, kind of one of those type of deals. You've got Carlito, who's the most level-headed person in the Judgment Day, going, that's cool that she gave you her hotel key card. And you've got Finn Balor, no, it's not. That's not cool. That's not right. Okay, so I'm laughing because Finn Balor is continuing to come off like the Leave It to Beaver dad. I'm telling you, that's disgusting. He's almost has a rights to censor vibe that's going on with him. I'm liking it. But let me ask you guys something. This is something to marinate on. We see that so far these past couple of weeks, Dominic Mysterio has had these good intentions, even though it's backfired. But now we're seeing Liv Morgan more and more as she's courting Dom Mysterio. I can't help but wonder two things. One, if the courting by Liv Morgan to Dom Mysterio is sincere, but then phase 2 of it, if there is going to be some type of implosion with Judgment Day, if Dom Mysterio is not going to be the cause of it, but it's actually going to be somebody else. I mean, the way the optics are looking right now, I just have this spidey sense feeling that Finn Balor, maybe JD as well, but I'm mainly eyeing Finn Balor. I feel as though Finn Balor is the one that's going to join forces with Liv Morgan. Look at the way that Balor has been operating so far. It's very, very, I don't know why my dogs are barking. I think I know which one is barking. Uh-oh. We got a reconnect that is going on right now. Hang on, guys. We got a reconnect that is going on right now, and hang on. What is going on with the stream? We got a reconnect. And we've been on the air now for 43 minutes. So for those of you that's tuning in right now, unfortunately, it looks like we just lost connection to our live audience. I hate when that happens. That freaking sucks. At this point, I don't know if it's the laptop or if I don't think it's the internet, because if it was the internet, then you know what? I would not be connected to a lot of things right now, but I think it's about time for me to get a new laptop already, so I can be done with this. But let me do this. Let me stop streaming. Let me stop streaming. And my poor dog just keeps barking. Hang on, let me see if she's even out here. My God. Just bark, 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 bark. There we go. Jesus. Okay. Yeah, there we go. My dog was barking the entire time. I don't know how the hell she, when she wants to, she can get off the bed and all that other loveliness. Holly, what are you doing? Leave all that alone, honey. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. So sorry about that, guys. But yeah, I got a little bit distracted there because, I'm trying to do the show and I hear my youngest dog continuing to bark nonstop. And I see why she was barking nonstop. It looks like she eventually decided she wanted to jump off the bed there and all that good stuff. Yeah, but I got to figure out what is going on with the internet here because it is not freaking cool what continues to happen. And the messed up part, I rebooted this computer before I even went live. That's the crazy part. I rebooted this before I even went live. Now, it looks like you guys on X, formerly known as Twitter, it looks like you guys are able to see me just fine here. Looks like the stream wasn't really interrupted for you guys, so that is actually good. I'm trying to see, though, if it's like good for you guys. Hang on here. Hang on here. Okay, so the stream actually ended just now on X, it looks like, which is fine. Let me go ahead and delete that stream. Bear with me, guys. We're going to pick up with the show in a little bit here. So that's good. So that's good. And then I'm going to leave this stream right where it is. Okay, so let's go ahead. Holly, come on. Stop that. Hang on, guys. Let me shut this door. Hang on. There we go. Okay, just chill out, honey. Just relax. All right, so let's continue on with the show here. Now that we know exactly what's going on. That's why I always have the show. My biggest tip to podcasters out there. If you're not sure about your computer, or if you're in a position where you just want to be on the safe side, you just want to err on the side of caution. That's why I always recommend when you are streaming live, always have your show recording in the background. That way, if anything weird happens, you're recording in the background no matter what, and you can just keep it rocking and rolling. All right. So some other things that we can get into. We were talking about Judgment Day there and Liv Morgan. Yeah, I am really under the impression that Finn Balor is the one that I think has already got the gears in motion. And I just have this feeling that when it's all said and done, the way that it's starting is Liv Morgan is trying to recruit Dominic, but Dominic is standing strong. He is standing tall, and he's not budging. He's not going to leave Rhea Ripley's side for nothing or what have you. But I have this feeling that maybe Finn Balor is the one that I don't know if he's been behind the shadows these past couple of weeks, if it started already, or if it will eventually. But I just kind of feel like with the way things are going right now, soon we'll learn that Balor approached Liv Morgan. Why mess around with that kid? His head is just all over the place. He doesn't know what he wants. What you want is a man, not a boy. I just feel like we're going to see some really fuego, hot sparks flying off the rails with Liv Morgan and Finn Balor. We shall see. We shall see. But yeah, we had all that going on. Nice little fun development right there. Some other stuff that went down on tonight's Raw. Lyra, Valkyria taking on Io Sky. Io picking up the win. That was a damn fun rematch. No doubt about it. Those two girls got great chemistry. I remember saying a couple of weeks ago, they need to run this back. They need to run this back. Here's the thing, though. Valkyria is still a little bit bland for my personal taste. Not as bland as Kalani Jordan, but she is a little bit bland. Get on over there. Nope, get over there. Get on over there. I tell you, these kids, man, They want your attention. They want to come in. They want to see what you're doing. Then when you do let them in, let them see what you're doing, and all of a sudden they change their mind. Nope, 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 no refunds. Also, Judgment Day and Carlito took on Braun Strowman and the LWO. Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee, Braun Strowman picking up the win. Fun little tag match. Didn't last too long. Just right there. Just right, as far as I was concerned. Nice to see Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee working with one another and everything. Otis taking on Sami Zayn. This pretty much was over very quick. A Lua kick pretty much ended this. Wasn't really a squash match. It was just the fact that Chad Gable jumped up on the apron, was barking orders at Otis. You know, he told Otis to hit Sammy with another big splash. He does it, and Chad Gable's going, okay, let's do it again. Hit another one, and basically miscalculation. Sami Zayn's able to take advantage of it. Halua kick, boom. That pretty much was it. Chad Gable attacks afterwards. He tells Otis, hey, continue on with the onslaught there on Sami Zayn. Otis raises his fist, backs off. You know, there's that hesitation with Otis yet again, and we see yet again Chad Gable slapping the living hell out of Otis. How much longer will a man, right? Because you're just looking at this and you're going, a man is only going to go but so far, getting bitch slapped by another man week after week after week. And it kind of seemed as though finally Otis was about to reach his breaking point because he had Chad Gable in the corner, and Chad Gable was cowering like a little girl, seeing as though Otis was about to flip the hell out there. And no, Otis decided, nope, I'm going to continue my onslaught on Sami Zayn, and he reluctantly made his way out the ring. That's just one of those. I can't wait to see how things play out when we go to Clash at the Castle, because you just kind of feel like the way things have been built up so far, maybe the big payoff is going to be Otis finally turns the other cheek and gives Chad Gable what's coming to him at Clash at the Castle. We'll see. Alba Fire, Isla Dawn taking on Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler. Baszler, Stark picking up the win. You know what? Look, fresh off of her great NXT Underground match against Lola Vice, I thought this was a nice rub there for Shayna Baszler and everything. Not really. You can look at what's happening here with, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. I was almost blanking on their names there. You can almost look at this and say, I'm a little bit concerned. This isn't good for these two girls off the break here. But it's still relatively early. Let's see what happens. But I gotta say, the fact that Zoe and Shayna got that win, you're just looking at that going, man, this could be a telling tale right here, could it not? World Tag Team Championship match, Miz and R-Truth were able to retain against the Authors of Pain. Was what it was. I know Xavier Woods had, what was it? Kofi. Yeah, Kofi had came out there. Kofi and Woods, actually. They came out there attacking Karrion Kross, members of the Authors of Pain. So you got that whole continuation and whatnot. Decent episode of Monday Night Raw overall. Nice fluidity, I would have to say. Wasn't really a fan of some of the squash matches that we had that was sandwiched in there. But really the highlights for me from tonight's episode, Bron Breakker, Dragunov, Io Sky taking on Lyra, Valkyria. Nice solid go-home show and setting up their pay-per-view when it's all said and done. Hope you guys been enjoying the show so far. It sucks that we are disconnected from our live audience. This type of stuff happens though. So, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I think honestly, I don't know how much longer this laptop is going to last. I think at this point, your guess is as good as mine. I don't know if it'll make it another year, 2 years, but I tell you what, I remember there used to be a time where I did not have to worry about internet connections and all of that stuff. Just connect, boom, I'm doing my thing, right? I'm rocking and rolling, and that's pretty much it. So, I don't know. I think that I'm going to have to put on the Christmas list this year for wifey. I think I'm going to have to say, hey, could you maybe look into getting me a new computer? That would be pretty badass. Let's talk about some other stuff. Since last I was on the air with you guys, let me clear my throat. Oh, that's good. That is good. I have not seen the new Bad Boys movie that's in theaters right now, but I know it cost over $100 million to make budget wise, and they pretty much broke even coming out of the weekend. So that's pretty good. I see that it's getting a decent amount of praise online. Fans are liking it. Critics are relatively liking it as well. I definitely plan on seeing it. I know my girl wants to go see it. And she's like, yo, we haven't even seen the last one yet. I said, don't worry. It's on Prime Video. We can definitely catch up before we get ready to see the new one. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if we're going to do that this weekend. I think it just really, really depends because I know these days, like I was saying earlier, now that I'm pretty much my own boss working independently, it's nice to be in that position where creatively I have as much freedom as I want. I can pretty much make up my own schedule. I don't have anybody breathing down my neck, none of that crap. I do my thing and that's pretty much it. And get paid very well to do it. So, uh, but I know that I put in my notice with my current employers. I pretty much told them, look, I'm with you guys until the 25th. Then I'm pretty much done. So they're kind of utilizing the hell out of me while they still got me. That's part of the reason why we're not going to be doing a live Clash at the Castle post show this weekend, because at the time that the event comes on, I know I've got to work Saturday afternoon and I won't be out until 8 o'clock. So I'll be able to watch the first 90 minutes of the event, no issue whatsoever. It's just as it gets closer and closer to when Clash at the Castle was about to wrap up, as far as that post show goes, that's definitely not going to happen. And then after I get off work, you would think, oh, well, maybe come home, do some show prepping, get ready for a post show, a live post show. No, as soon as I'm done with work, I'm going to be going right back out there and I'm going to be doing my own thing. So that's going to be taking a couple of hours per se. So I know we got the Forbidden Door pay-per-view that's coming up. AEW fans, listen up. For those of you that are still playing AEW Fight Forever, there is some new DLC that's going to be dropping this week. It's going to drop this Wednesday, June 12th. Adam Edge Copeland DLC is going to be coming, as AEW Games announced that the Rated R Superstar will be joining AEW Fight Forever as part of a new DLC pack this week. So you'll be able to play as him for your Xbox, PlayStation, your Nintendo Switch, as well as Windows PC. So FYI in regards to that. We were talking about, let me make sure we're not going totally all over the place here, because I definitely wanted to make sure that we're doing the show in a way where we're going ba-dot, 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 ba-dot. in a particular order. But in regards to the NBA Finals, I have watched game 1 and 2 between the Boston Celtics and the dead meat team there, the the dead meat team there in the Dallas Mavericks. And the way this is looking right now, I think this is going to be a gentleman's sweep. I honestly believe this is going to be a gentleman's sweep. I have just lost the. I'm watching just to watch, but it just feels like it's going to be a gentleman's sweep. That's just the impression that I get. You look at the very first game that had went down, what was that, on Thursday? So Thursday last week, it was 89 to 107. Celtics picked up the win. Then you go to game 2, which was this past Sunday. It was 105 to 98. Celtics. Just based off what I've seen so far, I just feel that the Boston Celtics has the better offense. I just feel that they got more weapons on offense. I just feel that they got better weapons on defense. And although Celtics may get a little bit of a challenge, kind of, from the Mavericks, I just feel as though, nah, you know what? Yeah, no, Boston, they've got this team's number, and it's going to be a gentleman's sweep. That's how I'm looking at it. Now, for those of you that's going, no way, Lee, no way, no how, there's no way it's going to be a gentleman's sweep. Hey, if you are willing to say the Mavericks are going to get at least one game, they can squeeze out one game, I can see that. I'm not disagreeing with you guys. I can see one game being squeezed out. But I'm still going for a gentleman's sweep. Basically, there's no way I see this game, or this series rather, going to a game 6. I don't see that happening. So we'll see how it goes down. The next game is supposed to happen, Wednesday, it looks like? Yeah, Wednesday is supposed to be happening. So I definitely will be watching that very, very closely. So let's talk about the new docuseries by Evan Housney and crew, the guys over there from Dark Side of the Ring. They did this docuseries while working with The Rock and his $7 production company, Who Killed WCW. I watched the first episode, and it was great to see Eric Bischoff be involved, because for me, that was a telling tale. Because my whole thing is, okay, look, we have beaten this horse to death for many, many, many years. And I know Eric Bischoff has participated in whatever WWE was putting out on the network and DVDs and all of that, but there's this certain narrative that is out there. And so it just kind of essentially leaves a bitter taste in the mouth. But when I saw that Eric Bischoff got involved in being interviewed for this docuseries, I looked at it as, okay, I'm hopeful that the way this docuseries is going to be presented, it's going to be presented in such a way where we're going to get a unique perspective, not the same old cliche, essentially one-sided perspective. Then to see that Booker T got involved, he's being interviewed as well. And you got Bret Hart. I know Bret Hart, he's got, right, he's got his own things to say about WCW. He's not exactly a happy camper, and I get that and everything. But, I had a lot of optimism going into this docuseries, especially when I heard that Guy Evans is involved. Guy Evans, contrary to Dave Meltzer, and crew. I got to say this about Guy Evans. Guy Evans and everything that he had researched about WCW, he did a phenomenal job in doing his research and doing due diligence in actual journalism and actual reporting, cross referencing, checking all the facts, going directly to the sources and all that when he put together his Nitro book. You saw me looking around just now because I was trying to look at my bookshelf and see where my Nitro book is. And I'm looking at my Nitro book. And as much as I would like to stand up and get it, I am in my boxers. So, yeah, it's okay to break the fourth wall, people. Seriously, it's okay. I know there's a decent amount of you guys that happen to do your shows in your boxers. It's okay, right? I have an excuse, though. It's late at night, all that good stuff. Normally, I'm wearing my pajamas, but I felt extra hot today because over here in the DMV, it is, we're dealing with some serious humidity right now. You know what? I'll take it, though. I don't know if you guys heard, but last week, in the middle of last week, we dealt with a serious tornado. And man, did it come through here. There are some of my neighbors. There's definitely some of my colleagues that have been affected by it. And the cleanup, it is just, woof, woof. I'll post a picture on social media, but just for my area, just my neighborhood, you know, so many trees went down, branches, all that crap. Like, it was really, really bad. I know when it had initially hit, I had texted my wife and I told her, hey, stay in place where you are right now. It is not safe to be out there on the road because this thing is just, it's not letting up. And I think the advisory was over for an area where she was at and other areas until about 9:15, whereas other areas, for them it was going to be just a little bit longer. But then even at that, I told her, look, when you're driving out there on the road, make sure that you are in the middle lane. Do not be on the side where there's trees because you want to be safe than sorry. And I asked her when she got home that night, when I finally saw her, I said, hey, did you stay in the middle lane? She said, yeah, I dodged as many trees as possible. I said, okay, great. So, but yeah, we were dealing with rain and then we were dealing with a tornado. And so to have these past couple of days, have it be nice, sunny, bright, but got to deal with a little bit of humid, I will take it. I will definitely take it. But Nitro, pick up that book. It is a definitive breakdown on everything involving WCW. I know Eric Bischoff endorsed the hell out of that book. That book is critically acclaimed. So when I saw that Bischoff, Guy Evans, Booker T were involved in this Who Killed WCW docuseries, it made me go, okay, well, maybe I should at least watch the first episode, get some type of an idea where they're going about this storytelling, try to see if I'm going to learn anything new. Now, I did not learn anything new, but I will say that the way that they are going about the storytelling for this, it is okay, here are the players that are involved with direct knowledge on what was going down. And here, this is the real deal, contrary to what some of the dirt sheets may try to, put out there and everything. Now, I'm curious to see how many others are going to be interviewed or have been interviewed for this docuseries. Like if Meltzer is going to make an appearance, because I know he's done some stuff for the Dark Side of the Ring past couple of years. I'm curious if they're going to get him involved or, if not, I wonder if Jim Cornette is maybe going to make an appearance. I know that Evan Husney and crew wanted to interview Ted Turner. And I think it's great that they've got access to Ted Turner's son, who comes off very well in the series. I think it's a very good move that they got access to him. For those of you that are curious what's going on with Ted Turner, a couple of years ago, Ted Turner revealed that he had been diagnosed with Lewy body dementia, if I'm not mistaken. So there's no telling where that dementia is now. But from what I understand, from what the son was saying, and from what Evan had said in a couple of interviews, Ted Turner, if it maybe was a couple of years ago, yeah, Ted Turner definitely would be all over it, talking about it. Even up to now, apparently Ted Turner was interested, but considering what's going on again with his health, and I think that's very understandable. I don't think Mr. Turner is in a position where I think there's a part of him. I hate speculating, but I would imagine there's probably a part of him that does care a great deal about how he is presented to the American television audience. And, maybe he might be comfortable with where he is now and he understands what's going on with his health and all that. But he could very well be in a position where he's saying to himself, I don't want the public to see me as I am now. I'd like for them to remember me from back in the. And so I think that it's good that his thought process and all of that is basically being represented by his son. So I think that's a really great move that they were able to get access to him and everything. They're also interviewing talents that have never spoken publicly about all the stuff happening backstage in WCW before. Like I know Eric Bischoff. What's the woman's name? Janie. She had worked behind the scenes in WCW. She ended up becoming great friends with Eric Bischoff and Bischoff's wife, and she never, was a fan of doing interviews and all of that. So this is like the first time that she's ever gotten in front of a camera to talk about her time in the company as well. So it seems as though the boys involved in the recruiting process really did a good job in grabbing unique voices to talk about WCW. So I like the approach. I like the perspective that they're going for, which is look, here is a definitive and honest viewpoint from those that were in the trenches, from those that were directly involved in WCW. This is how it comes off very neutral, very neutral. So I definitely would encourage you guys that are a little bit curious, go ahead, watch it. You don't have nothing else better to do. You just want to be in the loop, know what people are checking out on social media, what they're talking about on social media and everything. I would recommend you go out of your way and you check it out. I wasn't that impressed with the ratings though. I mean, that thing had only did about 137,000 viewers. That really wasn't that impressive. I'm curious to see what happens with episode 2, 3, and 4. I'm hoping that the viewership stays right around there because I would like to know. Okay, so at the core, what's your returning audience? All right, you got 130 something thousand. What are you gonna do this week? Is it gonna be that same number? Is it gonna be higher? What's going on here? I wish we would have been able to hear from the Hulkster, but they unfortunately were not able to get things lined up to make it possible. But hey, it is what it is. But definitely check it out. If you like reading, definitely check out that Nitro book when you guys get a chance. Hey, I want to go over the final polling results for NXT Battleground Las Vegas. Appreciate you guys that had cast your votes and let your voices be heard. I had a lot of fun doing the battleground. I said background. I had a lot of fun doing the battleground post show. The final tally results right now. Where are we here? I'm looking at X, formerly known as Twitter. 8% of you said it was a terrible show. I see a tie for 16%, where half of you felt it was an awesome show, while the other half of you felt it was a below average show. Top dog right now, 58% of you said it was a good show. Appreciate you guys that voted. Meanwhile, let's see how you guys voted over on X, formerly known as Twitter. I am seeing a tie at 20%. 20% of you said awesome show, while the other half of you said it was a terrible show. Coming in at top dog right now is good show at 60% of the votes. Appreciate you guys that voted as always. I wish more and more people would get into NXT. I got to say, with what they had did tonight or over the weekend was really good. But you know what? Tonight included, because apparently the WWE champion, Cody Rhodes, is going to be making a appearance on NXT Live this Tuesday. I will definitely be watching that. I don't know if I'll be doing a post show, but I definitely will be watching that because I'm very curious to see what's going on there. Oh, I see we had picked up a couple of more followers on X, by the way. I'm just curious what's going on here, because some of the people that we have that follow us, they're usually spam accounts. Yeah, like right now I'm seeing a George Strat tribute account. Has to do with what I had put out there in regards to Liv Morgan. It's like come on, man. If I'm not getting followed by tribute accounts, I'm usually getting followed by bot accounts that usually do the whole porn in bio. I mean, seriously, man. Freaking crazy. And then what else we got here? I'm looking at another person. Let's see what's going on here. I don't know who this person is. I'm not interested. Yes. Just crazy, man. I'm just deleting followers like left and right because they're bogus accounts. And I'm not a fan of that crap. Not a fan of that crap. What else? What else? Got a couple more topics that we can get into before we get ready to call it for the night. Let me just go back and let me just check out the show synopsis here. Make sure we're on point here. You know, I'm still pretty bummed out that the live stream got interrupted. I really am. I really am. Very bummed out. Okay, let's see here. So, in regards to NXT Battleground, boy, I tell you, Tony Khan, AEW, and crew, they've got a big problem on their hands, don't they? Because, I mean, stop and think about it. You've essentially now lost, I mean, really stop and think about this. You lost Cody Rhodes. You lost Brandy. You lost Jade Cargill. You lost Brian Pillman Jr. In addition to that, you've lost Ethan Page. All these people you have lost to WWE. And Lord only knows it's just essentially a matter of time before the Hardys make their return to the WWE. You know that is inevitable. You know that is inevitable. But when you look at the talents that have left AEW for WWE, you just can't help but say to AEW and Tony Khan, what's going on here? Because on the one hand, you hear from the talents that worked in AEW at some point, Yeah, I like the fact that I have this creative freedom. I can do XYZ. I can do what I want. I can do this. I can do that. Da, 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 da. And you can't help but say, as a fan or just a reader, or you listen to that interview, well, that's great. Happy to hear that. But then when you see that eventually these talents leave AEW, and for some of these cats, either they go to WWE or they're just out there on the independents, you can't help but go, well, what's wrong? What happened here? What happened to that creative freedom that you had? Like, I know for some talents that left AEW, they said, look, all the talents that I have in the world, it don't mean nothing if I'm not being properly utilized. And I respect the hell out of those talents that say, look, appreciate the paycheck and all, but I want to be in front of that audience. I want to be performing. I want to be honing my craft. And you know what? If I'm essentially just going to be paid to sit on my ass, that might be good for some people, but that's not how I roll. Hey, that's called character as far as I'm concerned. You've got great character and then some, and you've got standards. And there's nothing wrong with those standards. I definitely respect the hell out of anybody that says, you know what, bump this. Bump this. This may be the status quo for a lot of people, and hey, it'd be very easy to just settle and enjoy. But as I always like to say, if you just always settle, that's how evolution passes you by, right? You should always strive to challenge yourself and the predicament that you're in. Even if you're in a really good position, you should always be challenging yourself as far as, okay, how can we make it even better? I don't want to just settle on this. How can we make things even better than what it is right now? Never settle. Always be humble. Always be hungry as far as I'm concerned. I'm not just saying that. Those words that I just said to you guys, that is literally on my wall that I look at every single day. When I first wake up in the morning before I head out the door, it's one of the last things that I see as I come up the stairs here of my home and I make my way into the bedroom. Like I always see that. It's kind of like what I was talking about earlier, but just some of what I've been saying to my wife for these past couple of weeks. I told her straight up, I said, look, I said, with the two jobs that I'm working right now to try to make ends meet and try to be a really good financial partner in this relationship, in this marriage, I don't really feel it's doing me enough. And so, not to mention physically, I'm feeling pretty worn down, and mentally, I'm just not happy doing what I'm doing. Okay, it's definitely time for me to move on, but I need to be able to hold on to just one positive thing and be able to latch on to it and just blow up from there. And that's essentially what I was able to do, because I took a strong, hard look at the good things that are going well for me in my life, including what's happening with me at college and being so close to wrapping things up, getting my degree and everything, that I go, okay, well, I'm going to focus on this and this, which is really good, positive things with a great impact that's going to be felt not just immediately, but definitely for years to come. But I want to pursue what makes me happy. And I think all of the people that have left AEW, and whether they've gone to WWE or they've gone elsewhere, I would imagine that the pursuit of happiness, doing what ultimately makes you happy, definitely high on the list as opposed to making money. Because if all you wanted to do was just make money, staying right there in AEW is definitely the way to achieve that. I mean, wow, I'm only being used out of a whole month. I'm probably only going to be utilized twice in that whole month, and I'm getting all this money. I mean, that's an easy freaking payday. You can easily put yourself through school and do all kinds of other stuff and save the rest of your money for a rainy day and then some, right? So Tony Khan and AEW, they can be aggressive all they want and who they're trying to pursue that's out there on the free agency market. But unless you have a really good game plan as far as, okay, this is what's going to happen with this character, we've got it mapped out, we've got the rivalries, okay, as far as the character development goes, building that connection, but Tony Khan at the same time, he put his own foot in his mouth per se. I mean, it didn't really surprise me, but it probably surprised a lot of people what he had said on social media recently, which is basically he he's a sicko and he books wrestling for the like-minded sickos that's out there. He is pretty much admitting on social media that I gotta blow my nose, guys. Hang on, real quick. He's pretty much admitting on social media that he is catering to a core audience and essentially he doesn't care about anybody else, and that's not really a good way to operate. It really is not. It would be no different than perfect example. Perfect example. It would be no different than if you were the proprietor of a Indian cuisine restaurant and you are sandwiched between a gym, maybe a Pizza Hut, maybe a family dollar store or a Five and Below or something like that. You can't just go, okay, as that owner of that Indian restaurant, you can't just go, well, the only people that we want to cater to is Indians. First of all, that's very discriminating. Second of all, you are really handicapping yourself as far as who you're really trying to play up to. There's nothing wrong with having a Indian restaurant and all you're serving is Indian food. There's nothing wrong with that. But to essentially say that the only customers that you're going to cater to is an Indian base set of customers, you're really cutting off your own arm and handicapping the hell out of yourself. You want to be marketing yourself out there to, hey, we welcome any and everybody. Whether you like Indian food or you always wanted to try Indian food, we don't care who you are. We don't care what you look like. We don't care what your race, creed, religion, sexual preference is. You want to eat some good Indian food, come here. All are welcome, right? So, yeah, you are offering a particular type of dish, but the way that you're going about marketing it, that's the key. And so when I look at the way Tony Khan is essentially setting things up here, as far as I'm concerned, he's putting one of his own hands, he's cuffing one of his own hands behind his back, and he really needs to look at the bigger picture. He really needs to look at the bigger picture here, right? You can say all you want, oh, this is we're doing great here. We're doing fantastic here. And now I will push back on one thing. I saw that somebody had put out some fast national numbers for one of the shows, and that had a lot of people talking on social media. I rarely pay attention to the fast nationals. I care more about the final numbers. And the people that I usually rely on for that, if it's not WrestleNomics, uh, who's the guy that works for Forbes? Alfred, I can't think of his last name right now, but he'll usually get a hold of the numbers as well. Sometimes before WrestleNomics will put it out. But those two outlets, I don't know if TV by the numbers is still doing their thing, but you can definitely trust those respected guys that go through the analytics and put it out there once it's complete, the data, once it's a completed set of data that's available. But yeah, try not to pay too much attention to the Fast Nationals. Wait until, right? Yeah, and then you just got some people that just want to be a dick and they just want to put something out there because either their hatred or they just want to start some crap online and everything. But to hear Tony Khan jump out there and say those things, it was just, and this is why you probably are continuing to see a slow decline in your viewership. Yeah, you added Will Ospreay. Yeah, you added Mercedes I was about to say Martinez, but I love Mercedes Martinez. Mercedes Monet is who I was thinking though. It's like, yeah, you added these guys, and yeah, you've let the contracts for these talents expire. But when it's all said and done, look at what is happening, so far with your viewership here. Like you're nowhere close to where you were a couple of years back. And yeah, I'm sure Warner Brothers Discovery might be happy with the numbers that AEW is doing right now. Hey, when you've lost essentially your NBA deal on TNT, unless they're able to come up with some type of new arrangements, yeah, it's much like you're at a club. The one girl that you wanted and you were willing to give her the time and day. Now you're starting to look at that other girl that, was maybe missing a tooth and, kind of smelled a little funny. Now they're starting to look kind of good to you. It's just crazy what's going on. I don't miss watching AEW Dynamite, Collision. I don't miss that grind of watching all of those shows throughout that whole week. I just don't. I mean, it's gotten to a point now where it's so funny. I remember the guys over at 401 Mania. They were asking if I'd be available to do something this Saturday as far as covering Collision. And legit, I'm actually working, this weekend. But if I was not working that weekend, trust me, I still would say no, because I have just gotten to a point right now where, look, I'll do my Rampage reviews. I'm in and out. I will do my Rampage reviews and then I am in and out. Unless maybe we're going to talk some TNA, possibly some NWA. I'm not interested. I am not interested in AEW except for when it comes to the pay-per-views. That much I am interested in. I'm definitely interested in the pay-per-views. And I like Rampage because it's an hour show. You're in, you're out. You can usually see some solid matches. Usually guaranteed one match. That's pretty good. Two matches at most out of four, sometimes five matches for that respected week. So, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So, other than that, a couple of other little tidbits that we can get into here. And that tweet that I was talking about from Tony Khan, I book wrestling for the sickos because that's what I am, and that's who I think I cut this off. I think he said that's who I am. Wake up the bots and tell them we're having fun over here in AEW. Yeah. Hey, TNA this week, fresh off the heels of what I went down with NXT Battleground, they announced that Ash by Elegance will be in action on this Thursday's TNA Impact on Access TV. In addition to that, Nick Nemeth and Ryan Nemeth will be facing ABC. Danny Luna faces Tasha Steelz. Masha Slamovich goes up against Marty Bell. Mike Santana, meanwhile, goes one-on-one with Zachary Wentz. Matt Hardy invites the System to the Hardy compound. Steph DeLander gets an answer gives an answer to PCO. So that's what all is going to be going down for this week's TNA. By the way, speaking of TNA, some new news for you guys. For those of you that do not have access to Access TV and you've been wanting to check out TNA Impact, well, now on the TNA website, you'll be able to access it the same day that it airs, apparently. So Thursdays, 8 p.m., you can hop right on the TNA website and you'll be able to watch TNA Impact, in real time, just as it's on Access TV. And that would be available for you guys regardless of whatever tier package you have, apparently. Remember, I was telling you guys last week, I'll try to see if I could find the codes and all that. Well, those codes had expired on June 6th. But, I mean, still, for the deals that they got going on for their tier packages over on the site, it's pretty good. I'm definitely going to be signing up this week for sure. Let's close out talking about Kevin Kelly. So Kevin Kelly did a interview recently, and that just had me shake my head big time, because the audacity that this man had in linking himself to the late Hana Kimura. So this interview that he gave, he highlighted his AEW exit. He also talked about his issues with Ian Riccaboni. And in regards to Ian Riccaboni and whether or not Ian was plotting against him and everything, he said, sure felt like it. It still makes no sense. Ian Riccaboni, I met him at the Monster Factory. Bob Evans said to me, you need to meet Ian. He's really good and special. He should get a look for Ring of Honor. I went to the seminar, met him. Let's see how you do. Come on with me. We'll start doing some local shows. He made some long drives and did it the right way. He called dark matches and Women of Honor, so it would be unique and different branding. We got along great and worked together on shows. Everything was fine. When Joey Mercury left, I found out Ian was putting the mouth on me in the office after I was gone because I went to New Japan. I talked to some people about it, and I was like, I'm not going to worry about it. Now, in regards to joining AEW and those issues with Riccaboni, I started doing AEW, and Tony Khan told me I wanted Ian Riccaboni to do Collision, but he couldn't because of his day job, so Ian recommended me. Great, cool. I go away to the G1. It was 5 weeks. I come back, and Ian is talking about me on Discord and a new Japan message board that I did all these different things to him over the years, which I never knew. I had no clue. To top it all off, he accuses me of being some QAnon conspiracy theorist for supporting a movie that was against child trafficking. That's neither here nor there. The part that bothers me so much is that I thought we were friends. If he would have called me, we could have talked about it. Hey, Kevin, listen, you're really pissing me off. Even if we would have agreed to never be friends and he would have called me up to say, F you, I hate you, I never want to see you again, at least I would have known where I stood. Then I could work towards fixing what I had done. Instead, the way he went about it painted me with a nasty brush. It was done on purpose so that the fans would turn against me. He did it in a New Japan Discord board. People were messaging me that I'm friends with. I go there all the time. That's how I found out about it. Post G1, I wake up. Let's see what they're saying about us. Hey, wait a minute. What the hell? people that I'm friendly with were like, what is Ian doing? Why is he doing this? I have no idea. So I message him, what's going on? You said and did a bunch of different things to me over the years, so I'm pissed off about it. Okay, let's talk about it. I'll only talk if you guarantee you're not going to record the call. I wouldn't know how to record a call. Sure, we need to talk about it. Kevin Kelly goes on to say, then things started to change within AEW. It was never a good fit, me being there. I came from New Japan where I was left alone and I knew what I was doing. I was calling matches there, just like AEW, and all of a sudden now I have all these people in my ear and all of this format stuff. Why do we have to do things the same way Dynamite is? That's what I said. Why do we have to be the same show? Don't we want Collision to be different? Whether it was split because of CM Punk and the Bucks, I have no idea. That was never brought up. It was a separate show, Saturday night. Let's make it different and do different things. I'm different than Taz, Excalibur, and Shivani. The handwriting was on the wall. It wasn't going to work. And I was getting more and more pissed off. I talked to AEW office about it. I talked to them and I told them I was mentally getting in a bad spot over this too. I vented. When I vented, that's when they let me go. No harm, no foul with AEW. Big blame there. I was willing to straighten things out with Ian. I feel terrible that he was mad at me over something that he never told me, and it led to a bunch of different problems. So let's pause right there. First of all, in regards to why you need a format and all this, look, I remember those first several weeks of Kevin Kelly involved in AEW. I remember how excited I was that he was going to be joining AEW and pretty much doing the whole thing with Collision, because I felt that as far as I'm concerned, what Kevin Kelly really does best is threading together emotional context, that character context, getting you caught up to speed on what's going on with this match, why you should care about it. He does a really good breakdown, okay? Does a really good breakdown and setting it up and everything. I find him to be solid as a color commentator. But when he arrived in AEW, as far as, hey, why do we need format? Why couldn't I just be left alone? Da, da, da. Well, more than one occasion, we would hear Kevin Kelly butcher the hell out of a wrestler's name in AEW, get people mixed up, wasn't calling the right moves. He just seemed all over the place. He did not come off as an individual that had been watching the product for several weeks, a couple of months beforehand. He came off extremely, for lack of a better choice of words, he came off unprepared. And it showed. Now, the longer that the man went in AEW, it kind of seemed as though, he was getting better, catching on and developing rather quickly. But he definitely was off. So as far as having a format, and as far as I'm concerned, yeah, okay, you guys want to give me a format? You guys want to give me some bullet points on what to, okay, sure. I'm okay with that. I'm definitely okay with that. Okay, there's people in my ear that's, you know what? I welcome those people in my ear because they've been here at this dance a lot longer than I have. I've only been here for a quick cup of coffee. They've been here since day one. So you know what? They have an idea. They have a vision about this product, about these talents, and you know what? I need to make sure that I'm in the best position possible where I'm able to execute the mandate for the show. So I would have been embracing it until I felt I was in a better position where, hey guys, can you tell me if I'm better than I was a couple of months ago? Because if I am, can you guys trust me a little bit here to give me a little bit more rope, give me a little bit more flexibility, and not be in my ear as much? Because I can definitely do this. I'm on top of the product. I'm watching it. Just give me my bullet points. I got you guys. You got to feed me some type of breaking news. I understand that, but otherwise, let me do my thing. But during the interim, no. Help me help you make sure that we're on point with the product. Whatever needs to be done. So, yeah, all of that just comes off very silly to me from Kevin Kelly here. As far as if he worked things out with Ian Riccaboni, one incident in particular, he did spell out for me. I did say it to him. I meant it I won't go into it. I didn't get a chance to explain it, but I understood how it could be taken the wrong way. The other thing he said was I knocked him for wearing a hat on Collision, which I did, the cowboy hat, because he's sitting next to Jim Ross. They were in Calgary for the Stampede. I was saying it because guess what? You're going to get heat from JR if you're wearing a cowboy hat sitting next to him. Whether he says it's okay or not, that doesn't matter. It was born in Calgary and the Stampede. He's the one that wears a cowboy hat. Why would you do that? Ian got upset about that. Give me a break. I get where Kevin Kelly is coming from, but guess what? That's not his fight. That's not his battle. Let that be JR's battle. Okay? If JR is pretty much showing up, okay, what we calling? What we doing here? We ready to go? Let's go. If that's how JR is rolling, then you know what? You need to roll just like that with JR. I remember the episode in question, and when I saw Ian Riccaboni, as far as I was concerned, I looked at it uniquely different than Kevin Kelly did. Part of me looked at it as, okay, Stampede, Calgary, okay, the wrestling, okay, and then the cowboy hat, okay. And then the other part of me was going, hey, betcha Ian is a big Jim Ross fan, and man, what a great honor it probably is for him to be sitting next to the Hall of Famer color commentator. And that pretty much was it. So, for all we know, Ian Riccaboni probably grew up on Jim Ross, can probably recall and recite some iconic Jim Ross sound bites. Was he maybe being a little markish? Yeah, sure. But come on. Come on, really? Anyway, as far as if he has any ill feelings towards AEW, he said, of course, I wouldn't treat my worst enemy like that. He talked about how he found out when he was being let go and everything. And that pretty much is the whole gist of it in a nutshell. But you know what? Where's the part about Hana Kimura? Let me actually at least read that part. Let me just let me skim here and see if I can find that part, because that is what really set me off, was when he mentioned Hana Kimura. And I don't see it in this one, so bear with me here. And let me just say Hana Kimura. And I'm pretty sure I can find it. Because that right there, that was just, wait a minute. I know my man did not just link Hana Kimura, because he also started talking about mental health and and all that other stuff. I'm trying to see if I can find it here. I'm still looking for it. I'm still looking for it. Oh man, that is gonna bother me if I am not able to find the Hana Kimura joint. Yeah, I think I got it. Yes, I found it. I found it. So after Kevin Kelly reiterated that his mental health was not good during his AEW run, he says that since he's gotten help and is working on being fixed, but that AEW was not sensitive to that. He also says he can forgive Riccaboni, but talked about the role Riccaboni's online criticism played in his mental state, uh, noting that the suicide of Hana Kimura, which was an extreme example, but here's what he said. For a company that cares so much about their athletes, he's talking about AEW, I booked an appointment with the psychiatrist and I got all the text messages of me just ranting and raving with the poor guy. I set up an appointment with him on Thursday because we were taping TV the next day, and then they fired me on Wednesday. So you guys really care about the people that you employ. So yeah, it wasn't about Ian at that point anymore, but I did kind of lump him in all of it. But now it's like I'm trying to process it. It's so forgiving. So forgiving him is easy. Forgiving him, it's already done as far as I'm concerned. But again, you cannot do something like that. It happened to a much greater extent. I'm not comparing myself to it at all, but to Hana Kimura. Because when you bring down the force of social media onto a person, wrongly accusing someone, there are consequences. You can't do that. You shouldn't do that. And I mean, what happened to Hana, of course, was much worse than what happened to me. I'm not even comparing those, but again, it's the same type of thing, and that's really just it. He goes on to say that he wasn't a fit for AEW. He just felt that it was a very different kind of place and very stressful. So many people, there was so much chaos, and it just really messed him up a lot. He was much happier in New Japan, except for the flights. So this is my first time, and I've followed the work career of Kevin Kelly for years. This is the first time that I've ever heard Kevin Kelly in this position of, hey, mentally, I was in a really dark place. I'm talking to a psychiatrist. And, that just to me kind of comes off like he's trying to be a victim here because whatever he was spewing on social media and people were pretty much checkmating his ass online saying, dude, how can you be for this? And he essentially is coming right back. And I saw some of the stuff that he was spewing out there to some people. It's like, okay, so Kevin Kelly is essentially doubling down. He's not backing off. Okay, all right. And then it kind of seemed like when his paper started to get messed with, that's when all of a sudden, emotionally, he's this and he's that. That's when all of a sudden it's a problem or whatever. So, I kind of, the validity of what he's talking about, like, I kind of question, right? I think it's more so a case of, look, you got caught up, and when your back was up against the wall, and when it comes to self accountability, you're pretty much you're not owning up to it whatsoever. You literally were just venting on social media when it's all said and done. I mean, that's literally it, and he just comes off so tone deaf right here, you know. Like, at the end of the day, I don't give a damn what his personal, political, or religious beliefs are and everything. But my whole thing is, once you start jumping out there on a public forum and you start letting some of those things be known, to think you're going to be able to have one thing be separate from the other, and you can just, no, no. Your best bet is to have yourself a private social media account for immediate family members, close friends that you know ain't going to be running around putting your stuff out there, and keep it at that, or have yourself a burner account, or whatever. But to even, I know he wants to try to say, oh, I'm not comparing myself to, but why bring that name up? Why not just say, hey, you know, as we've seen over the years, there's been so many people that have become a victim to some of the social media hysteria, bullying, whatever you want to call it. And from what I had experienced with some of the stuff that was being put out there about me on social media, it really did a number on my head. Why not just talk about yourself? And obviously, you're saying that you were talking to a psychiatrist. Well, part of talking to a psychiatrist is to express your inner feelings, to air it all out. So you should have no problem, to a degree, to air out, hey, look, this is what I'm really thinking. This is how I'm really feeling in regards to. Um, but Riccaboni didn't accuse him of the QAnon. He didn't accuse him of that. Kevin Kelly supported QAnon, uh, the whole propaganda of that, publicly on his own. And when people were trying to checkmate his ass, he pretty much accused them of being child molesters and a whole bunch of other stuff. He doubled down. Riccaboni didn't have anything to do with that. And the fact that he's comparing himself to Hana Kimura, I mean, this just kind of tells you exactly where this guy is, where his headspace and all that. He should have never done this interview whatsoever. I think he kicked himself in the ass big time, by doing this interview. It definitely did not score him any brownie points whatsoever. His best bet was to keep his mouth shut and just keep it moving along. When you are some form of a public figure, there are going to be more eyeballs on you than you can personally care for. And if you care about your mental health, your well-being, your financial status, you're not going to do anything that's going to jeopardize that. And the way to play the game on social media, Kevin Kelly, I've heard from some people that have said Kevin Kelly, they've met him or they've interacted with him on social media, and he's pretty much been a dick to them, even though they were totally respectful and all that. Look, I don't know if that's a mood swing thing with him. I mean, for me personally, Kevin Kelly has always came off a little dickish, a little snarkish and all that. But to a degree, I appreciated the man's work. But after all this crap that he spewed, yeah, I'm just looking at this guy cockeyed, and I'm just going, way to dodge self accountability, dude. Like, seriously. Seriously. Um, Riccaboni owned up to his mistakes. He owned up to talking about this man in a social board. He manned up to that. I would like to believe that Riccaboni is at a place in his life right now with his wife after welcoming their beautiful child into the world. Uh, he's trying to make sure that he's the best man, best dad, best husband possible, because his kid is going to get to a certain age, and right, whatever controversies involving his father or her father, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, hey, dad, what happened right here? And the end is going to have to explain, what had went down there. This is the first time I've ever heard of anything remotely negative about Ian Riccaboni, and I think very highly of him. I think of his color commentating supremely better than Kevin Kelly, actually, because Ian puts enthusiasm, he puts energy into his color commentating, whereas Kelly is extremely dry. It's just informational when it's said and done. Yes, you get the character context. I wouldn't say you get emotional context. You get the character context, right? This is being filled in. These gaps are being filled in. It almost kind of comes off educational, what you get from Kevin Kelly, and given to you in drops can be a good thing. I know for the brief little bit of time that I was watching New Japan Pro Wrestling and I had the opportunity to check out the English commentary there, honestly, I didn't care that much for Kevin Kelly and whoever his co-host was at that time. I mainly would just put the damn thing on mute and I would watch my New Japan action that way. So I hope that Kevin Kelly learned a very valuable lesson here, which is, number one, don't think for a second that you can say any and everything on social media, because there are going to be people that's going to push back. And if you truly believe, nobody's saying you got to shut up on social media. Nobody is saying you got to silence yourself and all that. I mean, if you're going to talk about those things on social media, be prepared to either stand your ground and go toe to toe with those that disagree with your point of view, take it on the chin, and be able to keep going back and forth with them. And if you're not willing to have that type of dialogue, have that type of interaction with people on social media, then you got to learn how to, okay, you know what, as much as I want to talk about this, I got to keep this moving along. Let me just talk about, there's a reason why you don't see news reporters or your favorite movie critic or insert this person from this respected industry. There's a particular reason why. Okay, all you will hear me talk about is this right here, and that's it, because I am not trying to, I know who my core audience is, and I want to make sure that I continue to play up to that audience. There's a reason why you see people that operate that way and not double dip. You feel where I'm coming from? But yeah, I saw that and I was beyond perturbed. So on that note, let's go ahead and, as far as programming notes go, I know I'm going to do another show. I don't know if I'm going to do a show on Tuesday or Wednesday. I kind of feel like maybe I'll do a show most likely on Wednesday, because we got to get through predictions for Clash at the Castle. I definitely want to talk about fallout from NXT as well. So maybe in regards to Wednesday night, maybe we can also talk a little AEW as well. I know I want to talk about Dax Hardwood, and looks like he's going to be going on hiatus for a little bit due to injury. We'll talk a lot more about that on the Wednesday show. But meanwhile, I want for you guys to be kind and rewind. Check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads, wherever you get your podcast. Just search the RCWR show. Get at your man on the X, formerly known as Twitter, at the RCWR show. Facebook, the RCWR show. Got the website, rcwrshow.com. Shout out to my man, Yasmir. He did a fantastic job in converting all of my articles from the 401 Mania site on over to my actual site. I mean, he did a great job. He even told me, too, he said, look, if you ever need a writer, for some of this stuff that you're covering, let me know. I do have a great interest in those areas. I love talking about those things. So I'm probably going to take him on and see what's up. But I'm looking forward to officially. We haven't made the, hey, it's the big, but you can go on the site right now, rcwrshow.com. You can go on there right now, and you can have a field day reading all of my stuff. New original written stuff is definitely going to be debuting on the site in the coming weeks. Shout out to all of our sponsors as well. Without them, content like what you're checking out right now would not be made possible. We definitely appreciate these guys now more than ever. I'm telling you, appreciate them now more than ever. So that is going to do it. One more show to go. We'll do something Wednesday. I don't know how the post show is going to go down. Part of me is thinking maybe first thing Sunday, late morning, early afternoon. Maybe we'll do a post show. I'll put up a poll, and when you guys see it, let your voices be heard and sound off. Very curious what you guys are thinking as far as, because I have a feeling there's a decent amount of you guys that want to know what I thought about the pay-per-view. So I'll definitely put that poll out. And make sure you're following me on social media, because a friend of the family, same family member that we were fortunate enough to get my terriers, Holly and Chloe from, and they're sisters. She hit me up, or she hit the wifey up earlier today, and she goes, "Hey, just curious, would you be willing to open up your home to another dog?" And she explained the situation to us. Apparently, from the same litter that Holly was a part of. So this dog that we are potentially thinking about having as a full-time family member, she is the full-blown sister, direct sister of Holly. And the resemblance is unfreaking canny. Unfreaking canny. They look like twins. I put up a picture on X, and it was a side-by-side. They look like freaking twins just in the face alone. And I said to my wife, well, what happened? What's going on? And apparently the owner just does not have the time that she thought she was going to have. Supposedly bad hip issues, a bad back, can't walk the dog, and all kinds of other stuff. So rather than take it to animal shelter, thank God, she didn't do that. She decided, well, let me give it back to the owner, the original owner, the person that I bought it from when it was part of that litter. So think about that. She's had this dog now, and the dog's name is Ladybug. She's had Ladybug now for a year and 4 months. 1 year, 4 months. So the dog is already set in its own ways. And my next question to her was, well, what's going on potty-wise? Is she pretty good? And apparently there's some stuff that's going to need to be corrected, because she's having accidents in the house. And I said to my girl, well, no shit that there's going to be accidents, because the owner is barely getting out there because of this alleged bad back, hips, right? I say alleged because for all we know, they just might, they just might be lazy. I don't know. But my wife is going to pick up this dog on Ladybug. She's going to pick her up on Friday, and we're going to test her out here at the house on the weekend, see how she gels with her sister. So again, she's Holly's direct sister, because they're from the same litter. But in the case of Chloe, Ladybug would be Chloe's half sister. And as it stands right now between Chloe and Holly, they are half sisters. Like they have the same father and mother, they just aren't part of the same litter. So I'm trying to think. Chloe was first, and her initial litter, like, sadly, Holly was not part of that. But the next time the mom and dad had another litter, boom, Holly. So that's how you got Holly and Chloe being half sisters. But this Ladybug is the direct sister of Holly. So I'm curious how that would gel. Mainly, I know Chloe can be very territorial. She can be very adversarial. So I'm curious to see how quick she'll be able to recognize scent and all that. That, wait a minute, this is a family member, and pretty much warm up, because it took her a couple of days to warm up to Holly when we initially brought her in here. And then Holly, although she is one of the sweetest, nicest dogs that you'll ever come across, she loves any and everybody. She's just curious and everything. Rarely she barks. You know, I can't help but wonder if maybe she'll pick up a sense of jealousy when we bring this other, or if she's going to be very welcoming. So I won't know until we see how everything plays out during the weekend. And, you know, we'll see what happens. I know what I had told the wifey. I said, you know, the timing of this, I welcome it, you know, because I'm no longer grieving over the loss of my oldest dog, Maggie, but I still think about her every day. And it kind of seems like the girls here, you know, they've moved on in their own way. They're now more closer to each other than ever before, you know. But as I was telling my wife, I said, you know, it was very taxing there, because for almost essentially 2 years, we were trying to take care of a dying dog with so many health issues, basically, that now we're in this position where, you know, it's just two young dogs that we're taking care of, and things are a lot more manageable. Would things still be as manageable with a third dog in the picture? Or, right, especially talking about a dog that's 1 year, 4 months old, already set in its own ways, and, you know, some of that behavior, bad behavior, needs to be corrected. You know, it's like, am I up for that challenge? Right? You know, it's a lot. It's a lot to think about. It's a lot to think about in considering everything, but to be able to say, hey, we're trying to do our best to keep this family together. Right. So keep your fingers crossed and stay connected on social media. I'll be posting updates for you pet lovers, let you know how everything is going and all that. So, on that note, that is going to do it, my pretty babies. Until this Wednesday night after AEW Dynamite goes off the air, I'll be with you guys for post-show coverage fallout, another edition of the RCWR show. I'm wishing all of you all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. And I'll see you guys next go around. Adios, y'all. Take care.